DorkLair.
Welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Force Steel Brigade from Valaverse. So I did pick this guy up in the Kickstarter and it got to me pretty quick, so I thought I'd get a review up. I apologize for having very few reviews lately. Work has been pretty intense this year and just not a ton of time for filming videos. If you want regular content with my voice, check out the podcast, because we do the podcast every other week, so that is continuing to go strong. So check out the DorkLair podcast. But anyway, got the Action Force in hand. I did not go all in, but I got 6 figures and a couple accessories packs, including this guy right here, and this is the Steel Brigade, an original G.I. Joe guy that Vala was able to grab the naming rights for, or whatever, and bring it right into the Action Force line. So that's very cool, because you can just slide this dude right into your G.I. Joe collection. Now, I've been way down on G.I. Joe stuff, and just like modern figures in general. I haven't been collecting as many superhero figures. I haven't been collecting as many of the classified stuff. I've really been trying to focus on like my Star Wars stuff and my Mythic Legion stuff, and like kind of in that, and then a little bit of like Mezco Gomez world. But for the most part, I've been not doing a lot of modern ninjas or things like that lately. So I'm not super like hyped up for this like I was when it was originally up. But I think the people who are hyped up for this will be pretty happy. I do have a few gripes, and we'll get into those. A couple kind of like, not major issues, but things that are really frustrating. But we'll get into those in a few. For now, let's take a look at that packaging. And here's the box. It's a pretty basic box with a window on it. Steel Brigade on the front. On the side over here, we have Action Force. And on the back is very cool. There's some neat things going on the back. So we have the Wave 1, Series 1 figure lineup. We have a QR code that you can scan. Got a very cool file card. And on the bottom, there's an Action Force action points, like, cut and save for future discounts. And then we got artwork, really nice artwork on the side there. So pretty straightforward packaging, but I like it well enough. And let's get a close-up of this guy. Take a look at the details, the paint work. Some nice metallics going on there on the face mask. Some clean lines here, very kind of like tactical and almost like athletic looking materials going on with the head sculpt there. Really cool looking soldier, and definitely reminiscent of the old G.I. Joe figure. One of the things I don't love is it's kind of plasticky feeling and looking, and you get that on these arms and that chest piece. But I do definitely like the sculpt work here, and you have that kind of like matte gray going on that shirt. So that's a pretty cool look. Same thing going on with the elbows here. And the hands are kind of similar, where you have like some grays going on there. I do have one issue that I should probably bring up in the articulation, and that is I have some separation going on in the torso. So where the torso is here, it's kind of split right out of the box. It was just sort of, when you articulate the neck, it kind of splits. I can show you that later a little bit more. But yeah, I can show you here down into the pants and the buckles, some details there. This piece is separate, so if you were to disassemble the figure, I believe you could pull this off. And then these pieces are separate as well, so these should slide right down the leg and pop right off. He's got like the green army pants, knee pads, boots with some buckles. Nice looking sculpt work going on throughout the entire figure. But I don't love the plastic, and like, I don't know, this torso feels like it's a very rigid plastic, and I think that's part of why it split at the shoulders. Next, let's get a look at the Steel Brigade next to a couple other action figure lines. Of course, we got to bring in Hasbro first. On the left is a Marvel Legends Green Goblin, and on the right is a red ninja from the G.I. Joe Classified line with the Baroness's motorcycle head sculpt on there. And I think that the Steel Brigade figure fits in really well with both of these lines. Next up, we have a couple other independent lines. On the left, we have a Mythic Legions figure that's a mashup of Sir Owain and Torion. On the right, we have in articulated icons, Grey Ninja. Next up, a couple other familiar lines. On the left is the Mafex Batman Dark Knight Returns. On the right, we pretty much have a Mezco Gomez. It's the Secret Agent Gomez body with the Roach with the Golden Head jacket and a custom Daniel Craig head from Ivan Silva. Okay, so with the accessories, we have the vest, and this is probably my biggest gripe of the entire figure. There's a design system here that I very much dislike, or at least the execution of it. But, I mean, it is a cool vest. It's got some cool details, nice little weathering there, some metal is chipped away. Got some removable extra magazine storage right there, so you can take the magazine out, and then take the rifle, and then you can swap it right in there with the rifle, which has some kind of neat paint on it. You know, you got a little bit of silver in there, and of course the magazine is silver and some flat blacks, and I really like that flat color here, that beige right there. So pretty nice looking rifle. But back to the vest. So the vest, and the other feature of the vest is it does have a slot for the knife right here, so that's pretty cool. And then the knife, you get a look at the knife right there. And my biggest issue here is that these pegs are just too big. So once you pop them out, it's just a giant pain in the butt to get them on there. And I've been able to do it, but I can only really do it when I heat it up and have it off the figure. When it's on the figure, it is really difficult to get these back in. Like, it just frustrated the heck out of me. And in fact, I gave up. I know I can do it. It's going to take me a while to sort of like do it. I'll probably need to use some tweezers and sort of get under it and work with it. Maybe heat this side up and cool this side down. Like stick this in a thing of, you know, have like a thing of like cold water here and hot water over on this side and do both, and then get it on the figure and then snap it on. But like, it is just, this little sort of like mushroom peg is just not great with that hole. And when you have it on the figure, it just, you can't get it in. Like, it's just, even in my hand, unless I heat that thing up, like I can't get it in there. It's just not good. So that's a big gripe for me. Like, it's fine, like it'll work, but it's just a lot of work to swap the vest on and off. So that's a pretty big knock for me, in my opinion. He does come with this pistol. It's kind of cool and like futuristic looking. And then that pistol can go right into his holster right here. And for hands, he has a pair of fists. He's got a pair of trigger hands, a pair of gripping hands for knives and swords and whatnot. And he's got a pair of hands for cradling the barrel of the rifle. And just a couple other things that I wanted to briefly mention is it does come with a very nice stand with 4 different places for the pegs. And nice details to it. I like this stand. It's a little large, so if we stick the figure on there, you know, it's pretty wide, so you can get some wide stances going on it. So that's pretty cool. And then the other thing it came with was a Steel Brigade patch, and so that you can actually become a member of the Steel Brigade, there's like a dossier where you can like fill out your own character sheet essentially, so that you can become a member of the Steel Brigade. So that's kind of neat. And then the only other thing I have is this separate head, which was a bonus for the first, I don't know, however many backers. And this is a separate piece. It's like a bonus head, but this is pretty cool. It's a commander version. So you can army build these guys and then get yourself one of these commander heads and have the, you know, the gold commander. And then you have the grunts with the silver head. So that's a pretty sweet little addition there. And I know, you know, it's only the backers or whatever that are going to have that, but you know, maybe you can find one on eBay or something like that and pick it up. Okay, finally for articulation, and before we get into it, I just want to mention real quick that they did include some information saying that you're going to want to heat up your figures before you articulate them, particularly if you have any stuck joints or anything like that. I didn't have too many issues. Mine moved fairly well, but I did heat it up. Like I heated up the entire figure and before I started moving anything. But that's something I tend to do. I do a lot of Mythic Legions, and I tend to do that a lot because I do a lot of part swapping and so on. Particularly like swapping out the hands and just like taking the vest off and doing those things. I like to get my figure nice and, warmed up for action, I guess. But yeah, so definitely you want to like heat the head before you pop it on. Heat the wrists really. I like to heat the hands up too. It's pretty stiff plastic throughout, so I like to heat the hands up too before putting the gun in the pistol grip and so on. So heat is your friend. Use some heat on your figures. Now, I don't know if the heat is the reason why this happened or if this was just like this, but as I was articulating the head, I got separation here in the torso, and it's kind of feels like the type of figure where that's going to happen because of the kind of plastic this torso is. It's a very stiff plastic, but yeah, that separated, and I feel like it should be together. And I don't know if you can see it, but as I move this thing around, you might be able to notice that it's like getting more and less separate as I move that around. So that's a little gripe, but to me, that's, whatever. Like, it's not something that's like functionally ruining the experience of the figure. It's just a little gap there. My bigger gripe is that vest, because it's so hard to put on. But anyway, let's do the articulation. So I've got pretty much everything off the figure. I even took these leg pieces off as much as I could so that we can see the full range of motion on this guy, and the articulation is fantastic. So the head can look up this much, and it can look down, and then it can twist side to side. And as you saw before, it has that sort of hinge there, and then the ball joint at the top. It's not a lot of like cocking side to side, just a little bit, but there you have it. And then the shoulders are on a butterfly joint, so he can bring his arms across all the way, pretty much, and they can come back out like this. So pretty good range of motion in the arms, and if you want to see it this way, backwards and then forwards, hunching forward. So great motion in those butterfly joints there. Got twist at the top of the bicep, double jointed elbows, great range right there. Articulation's good on this. I don't love the hands. It's just the hand is just the straight peg that goes in with the hinge. But it is what it is. It kind of gets the job done, I guess. And then we have a pretty ample ball joint at the top here. And then it can cock side to side. And then we have a nice ball joint at the waist, and that can twist. So he can do like, he can do some pretty intense poses and whatnot. Put those together, and you can crunch forward and you can crunch way back. So a lot of good motion there in that waist. And like I said before, you're going to want to work your figures and really get them going as far as the the heat and getting that articulation going. This piece is separate, and I believe it's removable, but I think I would have to pop the torso off, and I haven't really messed around with that yet. And then so we do have a nice drop down hip over here, and it can come back up and down. So when you drop it down, he can kick way up. Really good kick forward. And then you can kick backwards, and you can bring it back up. You can bring it back up. You can twist at the top of the thigh. You have a double jointed knee, and that was another place where I was very careful to make sure I heated it up, but it moves fine now. And then there's a twist at the boot. And he's got a ankle hinge down here, and he's also got a pivot that can give him a nice wide stance. So for me, the articulation is excellent. I like the design of the figure. I don't love the quality, or I don't know, the stiffness of a lot of the plastic. It feels very stiff. I like my figures to be a little more pliable, I guess. The look of the figure is pretty good. It's not like some deluxe paint job or anything like that, but these are like $30 figures. These aren't $50, $80 figures. These are $30. So I would compare these in terms of like pricing and tier level, I guess, like premium tier level, on the level of like, Marvel Legends, Mythic Legions, other figures like in that range. And They hold up pretty well. It's just, again, I don't love the material, especially this upper torso piece with that split up there. And then the other issue I have is pegging this in is just a pain in the butt. So that kind of stinks. I do like the look of it. That's a pretty sweet looking vest. And if that worked a little bit better, just popping and swapping and mixing and matching would be a lot of fun. So there you have it. It's a little bit of a mixed bag, but I think overall I'm happy I picked it up. I'm not like super hyped up on the line anymore like I was, I don't know, a year or two ago when I pre-ordered them. Just because, not because like of the line itself, but just my tastes have changed a little bit from back when I was kind of like in the G.I. Joe mood to I'm more into some other more like fantasy based things lately in terms of my figures. So I don't know if I'll keep every single one of them, but I'll keep a few. And I'm very much looking forward to cracking into that Swarm figure. I just decided the first review would, people might want to see the Steel Brigade, because this is a, you know, it is a G.I. Joe character essentially, originally. So there you have it. Thanks for watching my review. And until next time, may the Force be with you.
Follow me into